much I wet. I have one right now, but they're at work. I can get you another one.
You look good. Welcome to the podcast. I got this mic out of storage for this video. Because I cannot handle that tiny lapel mic. Really always think like, oh, I can just vlog and then tell my life as I'm videoing. But I never do that. I just take videos and then I come back and I fix it later. And that's the storytelling method that works for me. Because it's just me. I'm really just doing this for me and for future Logan. So when we live in the metaverse, I'll have something to look back on. After I got back from Ohio after the holidays, I was welcomed by my friend Laura, who just moved here from Maine, and it was really good to see her and spend some time with her. It was her birthday in February. Birthday, dear Laura. And it was also my friend Danny's birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Guys, we can go do this inside.
So lots of celebrating. Lots of fun was had for all.
Maybe there is one in Austin.
He's shy. Like you're looking at my entire friend group right now, so okay. Slay.
So in January, I went to Northern California for work for a whole week. First of all, I flew into Oregon and we took the 101 Coastal Highway down to Humboldt County, California. We saw so many elk driving down the Coastal Highway. We saw the ocean. It was very scenic, and it's something I want to do the whole length of because I also hear the Oregon coast is so beautiful. We stayed in this adorable cottage in Eureka, and we got to walk to dinner almost every night, which was nice. On day 2, after the first day being a travel day, we went to the chip docks where we send out and we export wood chips to Asian markets off of the Humboldt Bay. And it was just really neat to see this sort of big, long conveyor belt that loads the wood chips onto the ship. And I think that is almost 1/4 of a mile long. The conveyor belt, and we sort of got to go up to see where, if there was a boat there, how they would load it, and it sort of felt like I was attempting to do a high dive because it was definitely very high above the bay. There were also all these danger signs everywhere. We also, after touring the dock, we went to the woods, look at some recent harvesting operations that were going on. And it was really neat to see. You can see all the redwood trees, and they're just so much bigger, and they can grow so much faster than any other commercial species. Yeah, definitely Northern California just has a different environment that allows it to do different kinds of forestry than what I've seen in Washington or the middle of America or the Northeast or even the South. Really unlike anywhere else in the world. And California knows that, so there's a lot of really stringent laws and policies that go in place to make sure that logging is done sustainably and that habitat and water and carbon are all being taken into consideration. The next day we were able to go to the nursery, which I was really excited to see. They actually clone redwoods and they grow them in a laboratory before growing them in the greenhouse. And it's a really sensitive process. It takes 1 to 2 years to produce a redwood seedling. Really neat to see all the improvements that they made to the lab and how many more seedlings they can produce now because of it. Also, they made this big deal about this tree that was planted right beside the front gates, and that the seed of a redwood tree ended up going on some mission to space. They took it in the vessel. I don't know if they were like testing it and they wanted to see how it would grow after being exposed to like zero gravity or something. I don't really remember. I don't know if it's exactly true, but that is the tree right there. Also, where we stayed was this town of Eureka/Arcata, where Humboldt State University is, or now it's Cal Poly Humboldt. But it's just this really hippie, folksy, artsy town, and it was just really sort of neat to see all of the little shops and all of the restaurants. And I did have some of the best food this week while I was staying in Northern California. It was like every meal, nothing disappointed really. Everything was so good. The last day, we just had a meeting in the office, and I just took footage of all of these really old pictures from the, lumber baron days 100, 200 years ago, where you have these massive old growth redwood trees that back then they didn't have the technology that we do now to just cut things down. It was just really neat to see all of those photos and the history of sort of how the company, because it's now fifth generation family owned company that I work for, so it's just neat to see how they used to do it back in the day and how big those trees were. We stopped at the Redwood State Park. There's both state and national parks, and we went to the one off of the Highway 101 there, and it was just really neat to see how big these trees were. It was estimated that they were up to 450 years old, I believe, and just how big they got. And it was just sort of foggy. There was the West Coast marine layer sort of hanging around in the air. It was really beautiful. I don't know, the week of travel made me really fortunate to work for a company that allows its team to go visit its different operations. I work in the corporate office, and there's offices in the Northwest and all across the Southeast, and so I'll also get to go visit Georgia in the spring, so I'm excited about that as well. It's really neat to just see parts of the country that I've never seen before, and with such a close-up and personal way of interacting with it. We flew back really late from California, and I was very tired. Next month I'll be traveling to Hawaii, so stay tuned for that vlog, that video diary. See you next month in Hawaii.